Silica has seemingly appeared out of nowhere and has quickly grabbed the attention of strategy and FPS sci-fi fans alike. The game promises to take the RTS FPS Hybrid to the next level, and if you've played games like Natural Selection and the original Battlezone, you might have a good idea of why I think this game has some serious potential. Set on a distant world named Balterus, Silica pits three factions against each other in open desert warfare. Play as one of two human factions or the native aliens hunting them down. Assume the role of RTS commander or become an FPS subordinate in the thick of the battle. Gather resources, strategize, build up, tech up, and conquer your enemies. Aesthetically, Silica already ticks the right boxes, pulling inspiration from beloved IPs such as Dune, StarCraft, and Starship Troopers.
Hi, I'm Martin Militaric, and I'm the project lead of Silica.
With Silica's announcement trailer, the developer Martin Militaric and team have also released 2 strategy walkthroughs, while Martin has also been very active and accommodating on the game's Discord, answering questions and providing some insight. I'll be going over a bunch of that information and discussing some of my concerns. So if you enjoyed the video or found it useful by the end, let me know by leaving a like or subscribing for more in the future. Additionally, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Silica so far, so feel free to leave me a comment below. To start, let's quickly touch on the limited information we have for the 3 different factions. The distinction between the 2 human factions currently focuses on tech and aesthetics. The Soul faction seems to favor high-tech weaponry, experimenting with plasma and gaining access to the siege tank, railgun tank, and hover tech. So far, less has been shown or is known for the Centauri human faction. According to Martin, the Centauri will favor a more low-tech, brute force approach, with access to vehicles like the rocket launcher, and later a wheeled, dual-turreted heavy tank as described by Martin on Discord. I'm picturing something like the Mammoth tank in Command & Conquer, or the Harkonnen's Devastator in Emperor Battle for Dune, just with wheels. In terms of infantry, there doesn't seem to be any distinction between the 2 factions yet. With the full meat and potatoes lineup of Scout, Rifleman, Heavy, Marksman, and Commando, I imagine these classes will provide weaponry, speed, and armor adjustments catering to the unit's playstyle, tech tier, and purpose, ranging from Recon, Soldier, Sniper, anti-tank, and some form of specialist weapon utility in the Commando. According to the unit card, Commando is a pretty tankier unit with the ability to dish out heavy, armor-penetrating damage. Both human factions rely on the precious Balterium resource, which is gathered by slow, hulking harvesters. Like all vehicles, these can be player-controlled and surprisingly even entered and traversed in FPS mode.
You just need to run under it, and it stops, and then the platform underneath starts opening. So here we go.
I'm wondering if enemy infantry can also enter your harvester and damage it from the inside. Both factions start with a standard headquarters-style building. This produces your buildings and can probably be compared to the MCV construction yard in your typical RTS game. Using a research facility, you'll gradually gain access to more units and structures as you gather resources and research new tech tiers up to a maximum of tier 4 currently. So far, the alien faction looks surprisingly fun, initially providing a more mobile, fast-paced, swarm-like experience in comparison to the humans, similar to the Zerg in StarCraft or the aliens from Natural Selection. Unlike the humans, who rely on their harvesters to gather Balterium, the aliens rely on gathering a substance known as biotics, using a worker-style unit called the Shrimp, a smaller, weaker, yet more numerous counterpart to the humans' resource gatherer.
And the Shrimp is basically just a harvesting unit. It has no other purpose. It can attack with its claws, though it's a very weak attack. I can see other Shrimps heading back with resources here, so I want to head towards the resources which I've been assigned. So here we have our resources in the tar pit, so I'm just going to harvest them simply by just attacking it, so to speak. So that picks up the resources, puts them on my back, and once we're full up, we can head back to the base to deposit them.
This is a welcome difference in my opinion, as distinctions between resource gathering can make for some fun counterplay between factions. The aliens' resource gatherers will likely be more vulnerable in the early game, for example, but stronger in the late, while I anticipate the opposite to be true for the humans, but that could be a topic for a later video. In terms of units and playstyle, the aliens are able to traverse terrain quickly, including the ability to climb walls, rocks, and awkward terrain typically less accessible to humans. They boast an assortment of awesome-looking units, from the early game Crab Soldier to the tank equivalent Scorpion and the awe-inspiring late game siege-like unit, the Goliath.
Use the roll attack to get out of the way, but these railgun tanks are going to do short order of me if I don't get them destroyed. I'll hit them.
For now, it seems there isn't much difference in structures or tech style for the aliens, as these elements seem to mostly mimic the humans, with your headquarters, in this case the nest, producing organic structures, and a research facility, the Quantum Cortex, providing access to new tiers of tech, unlocking new production facilities for higher tier units. The introduction of the yet-to-be-seen Queen, however, might provide the necessary mix-up here. From what I've gathered, the Queen will act somewhat like a mobile construction vehicle, creating and interfacing with the initial nest to unlock the ability to build structures. Assuming the Queen can disconnect from its nest, perhaps the Queen will offer an easier opportunity for the aliens to expand and/or relocate their base if necessary, fitting their swarm-like yet elusive playstyle.
Alien team loses once their Queen is killed. So the Queen, this is currently not present in the early access build, but during early access this will be added.
The Commander mode in Silica will let you control AI units, construction, and tech not dissimilar to your classic RTS experience. The difference being some of your units in Silica will actually be players, and issuing orders to them will produce a waypoint or command for that player to follow. They can of course choose not to follow your orders, but they are incentivized by a special FPS resource which will accrue with orders followed and allow them to purchase better loadouts, at least on the human side. Of course, they should be incentivized to follow the commander's orders if they want to win as well.
Everyone fights, no one quits.
On the flip side is the FPS third-person shooter element, true to the genre and feeling almost like a classic Battlefield game, with the ability for humans to move in and out of vehicles and structures freely, and for the alien, a sort of agent smithing ability, which lets you cycle through some of the bugs as part of the hive mind.
And you can see that when I look at one of my units, it's down the bottom right, it says transfer mind if I press the E key. So I'm going to do that. I've taken control of one of the Goliaths, and I can see the attack has pretty much begun, heading out towards the enemy base.
I gotta say, the footage and screenshots already look incredible, and according to Martin, he's making good use of the Unity engine here. One interesting choice so far is the ability for players on the human side to teleport across the map, with the teleport becoming less and less accurate the further the distance from the teleport station. I'm not a big fan of this decision and would probably prefer teleportation to require a secondary teleportation station in order to provide an accurate destination, but we'll see how this plays out. One thing to know is that these maps are pretty big, with 5 separate maps confirmed so far. So this might just be a way to help the humans keep up with what seems like a much more mobile alien faction. Possibly a point of contention with the wider gamer market here is the proposed player limit of Silica, which is subject to change. As it stands, you can have a maximum of 12 players in a single match across a potential 3-faction battle. At first, this seems like a very low amount, but you've got to remember that you'll all be playing alongside an AI force controlled by either an AI or player commander. This sort of creates a cool dynamic where players might play the part of your limited elite units and captains, either supporting or leading the charge for your regular army on the front, or providing important tactical and strategic boots on the ground information to the commander. So, when can we get our hands on Silica and get a taste of Balterus for ourselves? According to Martin, he's aiming for an early access release in approximately 1 to 2 months from now, with a modest $19.99 price tag. Early access is expected to run for around a year, and a small group of players have already been helping Martin playtest the game. So, if you're interested in getting involved in early access and helping shape up the game, you should probably add it to your wish list and keep an eye out for upcoming announcements. And that's all. If you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed this look at Silica Game. I'm excited for it and expect to cover more Silica content in the future, either here on DTOX's lab and or over on my live stream, twitch.tv/DTOX. Thanks for watching.